Howdy folks, welcome to Heathen's Garage. Today's one of those days where got a lot more things to do than I'm probably gonna get done.
This is another installment of Cheap Street Ranger. Now naturally it'd be more fun if we were outside and working in the daylight, but as you can see the snow outside makes it fairly chilly. Instead, you will find us tucked in the barn standing beside a little pink Ford small block, which eventually is destined to go in this little Ford Ranger. But, you know, first it has to be assembled.
Now the actual plan for today is that we're going to do some piston to valve clearance, maybe bolt the heads down for real, get some rockers and things lined up, and yeah, we're going to do that. But that's not how the day started out.
Being as I'm a prepared and organized individual, I realized this morning I had almost no propane, save a little bit left in the barbecue bottle. Now it was cold, and I deemed it a wise idea to hook up said bottle and get some heat going. At least until I ran out of propane.
Alright, now that it's warmed up in here a little bit, it is time to commence on our piston to valve clearance measuring. For starts, we need to do this because we've got an aftermarket camshaft and virtually a stock block and pistons. So anytime you're putting a big lift or long duration cam in, I think duration has more to do with it than lift, but anyways, if you're doing that, you need to measure this and make sure everything's okay, unless you already know somehow. The second reason we're going to do it is because we're putting aluminum heads on basically a stock block and stock pistons. They got big valves, and these pistons they're meant for bigger valves, but only 194s, not 202s. Now you see we've got tons of relief there already, but the relief is actually too small because this is meant to be a relief for a 194 valve, and we've got 202 valves. Now I haven't done this a lot of times, and I'm not convinced I ever did it right, but I haven't had any that touched, so that's a good start. In order to do this really properly, you need a solid lifter, or two preferably. You need some tester springs for your valve springs, and something else. Oh, clay. You need some clay. Now I don't have any of those things, so we're gonna figure out a way around that.
To begin, let's work on making some solid lifters. To be firstly clear, this is something I read about years ago. It's not an original idea by me by any means. First thing you do is have at least 2 hydraulic lifters for every solid you want to make. Pull the clip out and disassemble the first lifter. They can be pretty gummed up and a pain in the neck, so just be aggressive and see if that helps. All you need is the top cup and the piston from the middle. Everything else is garbage. Now take apart the second lifter. All you need is the cup. Now you should have a lifter body, a piston, and 2 cups. Now you assemble those parts in the most backwards way possible. The cups go in first, facing each other, and the piston goes in top and upside down. Obviously a push rod will now be riding in the hole for the piston instead of in the cup, which you could never do for running the engine, but it'll work fine for opening the valve a couple times while we measure. Now you can pop the clip back in and you have a solid lifter that is good enough for testing and measuring.
Now if a guy was being particular about that and you wanted to, you could build your own spacer instead of flipping pieces around, and then you'd be able to keep your cup up the right way. But I don't know, it seems like it works for me, so we'll carry on that way. Now, we're just gonna toss these guys on here quick time. You'll notice that these are just regular springs, not tester springs. But that'll probably be fine. You know, it's not the end of the world here. I forgot a crucial step, and that was the putty. Head back off. Now, I expect there's a real kind of modeling clay. And then there's this stuff, which comes from the dollar store. But the bonus of the dollar store stuff is it comes in lots of colors, and also it's cheap. The hardest part about this is going to be selecting the color. We'll use pink. It's pink engine. That should do nicely. It's kind of below the head gasket level, but If the valves are going to touch something, they're going to touch there. One other thing I've been thinking about, that is, I hope I did all this filming and didn't cut my head off, because that would have been disappointing.
Now this is a particularly tedious job, full of assembly and disassembly, but it sure is cheaper to do it yourself than pay an engine builder. And it isn't very hard if we're honest, it's just one step after another, over and over again. Anyways, with the heads bolted down, we elected to actually fully torque them, as we had a new gasket and wanted the full squish effect. Next came a pair of push rods with your newly made solid lifters, and finally the rockers and polylocks.
Alright, so these are now basically set at 0 lash. This is just finger tight. There isn't a ton of thread engagement because it is just a hair taller than it normally would be, but it'll probably be adequate for testing. Now we just go around and around until we see some valve action happening. Now we'll go a full 720, unless something stops us, which something just stopped us. I don't know how I feel about going backwards to find the other one, but it's what I'm doing. Crack this one loose, and then we don't have to worry about him, because we know that we're hitting on the exhaust side now. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to hit the intake side too. Okay, back her off. These guys off. We're going to reevaluate. Alright, now that we officially know there's a problem there, heads come back off. We'll see how squished our stuff is, which is all the way. And we will evaluate what we need to do. Well, that's interesting. Maybe I didn't push hard enough, because there's no mark on the exhaust side, and the intake side is not bottomed out yet. Figured out what happened. We are going to have to test that again. It's really cold in here, and this engine's really cold because, it's snowy outside, and I didn't have the heat on for very long. And what happened is this modeling clay has gone rock hard. So naturally, when we tried to compress it, it didn't want to compress because it was hard. So we're going to try that again.
It's probably worth noting that I had been keeping the clay in my pocket to keep it warm all morning, and when I went to spin the engine over, I was pretty tentative about turning with very much force. As it turned out, I was only a few extra pounds away from compressing the hardened modeling clay, and everything's probably fine.
That's a much happier result thus far. At least it goes all the way around. I was worried there for a second, not gonna lie. Alright, take 2. Oh, that's better. There, that looks a little better, doesn't it? Now we have marks on both sides. And to me, I don't know if I have anything to worry about yet. So I did this already, so I kind of messed it up, but just pretend that it's, I'm doing this for the first time. You put your caliper on there at the same angle as the valve. You bring that part down, then you just shove it through the goo until it bottoms out. The short version is, we have gobs of room. Like, not even, we don't have to think about this at all. We got we're not at 60 thou, we're at 160 thou, so we're fine. That leaves us ready to bolt a set of heads on, and that's pretty exciting, because this is the world's longest engine rebuild going on right here, so we're ready to put heads on finally. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in this video. And that'll be good. Now before we do that, we will, however, take the dogs home, because I think they're bored of being here. No, stop hiding, you weirdo. Where'd you go? Did you get bored? Yeah? Are you bored? Elvis, are you bored? Do you care? Do you want to go home? Yeah, let's go home. Good boy. What's going on, little buddy? Are we doing stuff today? Hey, come here. Yeah, that's a good boy. Are you really fast, Elvis? Show everybody how fast you are. Let's do the speed. Run. Go. Attack. That was good attack, Elvis. Okay, we're back. And we've got different head gaskets. These are very low line, bottom of the barrel kind of deal. Whereas these guys, they say performance on them, and they've got a steel ring. Now, I'm not saying they're way better. I'm not even going to say that they're a bunch better. But I am going to say, since they cost basically the same, and because I wanted a set for testing on and off with the heads a million times, we're going to go ahead and use these, which we're kind of excited about. I don't know if they're really better, but they look neat anyways.
Incidentally, some of the bolts on a small block Ford go into water passages. Now you can choose to apply sealant only to the ones that do, but for consistency's sake I applied it to all of them to ensure they all receive the same torque. Also lubricated the bolts underneath the head so they wouldn't bind while tightening down and prevent gall in the aluminum with the small block adapter required for a 302. With that completed, I ran the bolts down with my little impact and proceeded to torque them to 70 foot-pounds in a couple of stages. Hopefully for the last time in a while. All things considered, I'm really pleased with these Alibaba cylinder heads, and I'm hopeful they will work out just fine.
Alright, we've also dropped in all the push rods, and we are ready for rockers. Now, you'll notice all these screw-in studs, they're still loose. And the reason for that is you have to adjust these sliders to fit appropriately. These push rod alignment plates, they have to be aligned. And these need to be loose to do that. And you have to have the rocker on to do that. So they all stay loose for right now. Then you put the rockers on, you get everything aligned, you snug it up, and then you're actually supposed to go ahead and just TIG weld these all together. Well, you don't have to TIG weld it, but I'm going to TIG weld it because we have a TIG welder. It's not in this garage right now, but we have one, and we are going to use it. Now, don't forget a little dollop of oil on top of everything. Just, pre-lubrication. Seems like a good idea to me. I don't know if it's really necessary, but the book says to do it, so I do it. Now right here, we have a set of Performance World. Nice rollery, tipped, roller trunnion bearing. They're fancy. I've never had this nice rockers before, so I don't know what to do with them, but they're pretty nice. Now when I say you can adjust these, I'll try and show you what you mean. So they can move in and out depending on where this pushrod needs to sit. Now with these mounted in place, you basically need to line the roller tip up. Whoops, daisy. You need to line the roller tip up with the top of the valve, because you can have a whole bunch of movement there, and you want to middle this to that. Now I'll show you the process just one time, because, I'm here and I'm doing it. I'm not saying it's right, but it is what I'm doing, and I think it'll work. So that's good enough for me. First of all, you get your rocker set dead center here. You look at your push rod, you make sure it's not touching the walls of the cylinder head, and that's where it wants to be. Now you take one of your adjusters, and you've got the lock screw in there just a few threads, so that you're not actually pushing on the rocker, you're just threading onto the stud, and it bottoms on the stud. Then you take both the key and a wrench, and you move these together so you tighten the stud up effectively. Pull it back off. Slip it out, slip that out. Grab it with the right size wrench. And give her one of these. Oh, but it moved that time. Try again.
Now about that time I ran out of propane, and it was getting cold and late in the day, so I called it a night. A couple days of warm weather later, and I loaded up the tanks to get some propane. Every year, it seems like I'm surprised by the first snow, and how quickly it melts off afterwards. Sadly, the chill hadn't left the air yet. I also made a stop by Sylvan Auto Parts for an oil pan gasket that I won't need today, but hopefully very soon. Naturally, the dogs came along, since I just vacuumed the Mustang out, and they need to reapply the hair that had gone missing from their respective seats.
So we're back, we've got heat again, and I actually went through and finished all these. Which is a little unfortunate, because then I realized I get to take exactly half of them all back apart again. I'll show you why. Well, I'll try and show you why. So, for instance, you see this stud right here. It goes into the head right there. Now, if we look into this port right there, come on, focus with me, you'll see that it actually goes right through and into that port. If we just shoved it in there with no thread sealant or Loctite or literally anything you could use, it stands to reason there could be, you know, a vacuum leak there or some oil consumption or nothing that's good. And since we would like this to be a good little engine, we're going to take them all apart, put some thread sealant on all those ones, and carry on with life. Incidentally, like it wasn't 3 days ago, I was at Rich Guido's garage, and he was explaining to me why he had thread sealant all over that, and I don't know, it just didn't register apparently, because it took till after I'd done it all to realize that I shouldn't have done it all, but whatever, we'll fix it and carry on. Which brings us to this. Intake manifold time. Now I dug through all my stuff, and well, I'm not excited about my bolt choice. It's these. They are Allen-headed bolts with grade 8 gold-colored washers. But I did have matching bolts at least. So we're going to use them because we have them. And I'm not like super pleased about that, but I have them in stock and I don't have to go buy them anywhere. So this is what we're using. And pulled the distributor out because I was concerned I was about to glue it in, and that wasn't the idea. Now, make sure that we've got enough goo in the corners and the china walls, which we definitely do. Wiggle it around till it's in the right spot. You can see all the holes. Let's jam some bolts in there. How about that idea? Now, fun fact, all these intake manifold bolt holes, they go straight through into the valley. So you're back at it with the Loctite or the silicone or something to glue them out of there. Now silicone's probably not your best choice because they'll be really stuck in there. Loctite's not a good choice because it's aluminum and you'll tear the threads out. Anti-seize will work. So that's what we're going to use. You know, in actual fact, maybe these Allen key bolts are not a bad idea. That'd be pretty tight tolerance with a hex head on there. Like getting a socket in there. I think this is maybe the right choice. Well, folks, I believe we have met this week's goal and a little extra. So that's pretty good. Now, I don't know what else to say about it. We're going to plug away at it for a little while, but the rest of it's all sort of boring stuff, you know, like timing covers and oil pans and whatever else. But we'll do that probably next week. And, man, this thing's... We're going to have it on a test stand and running before you know it. Or maybe we won't. I don't know. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate subscribes. And I don't know, watch another Heathen's Garage video. It'll be here, there, somewhere here. We'll see you next time. Bye.